full world. Check them out and compare with others. And guess what? Guess what? These are produced right here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I tell you, Vinci's have class. Yes, real class as always. Let's keep our standards high. By Virtus, Medushi, and Lilies. Made by St. Vincent Containers.
Win your AKT purchase for free from Quartz. For a limited time, get a chance to win your AKT purchase free. Plus, get a free AKT helmet and a $25 fuel voucher. No cash, no problem. Pay with Quartz Ready Finance and pay nothing for 30 days. We process your registration and insurance for free. What are you waiting for? Don't miss out on this incredible opportunity to win your AKT motorcycle for free. For more information, visit www.shopquartz.com. This offer is available online and in-store until September 30th or while supplies last. Terms and conditions apply. Quartz, bringing value home.
Yes, sir.
Our industry relies on all of us to play our part. We take pride in showcasing our beautiful island, our craft, our cuisine, and our warm Vincentian hospitality.
Each of us play a crucial role in showcasing our vibrant tourism industry.
We can create spaces where visitors can unwind, connect with nature, and embrace tranquility of our beautiful surroundings.
We need everyone on board to help us create an exceptional experience for our guests.
Join us at our National Tourism Community Consultations as we shape the future of tourism in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
It's everyone's business, yeah. Love it, embrace it.
WEFM is SVG.
Good morning, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Once again, the rest of the region and the rest of the world. Welcome to Activated Mornings for another wonderful Monday morning. Good morning, Doc. How are you?
Good morning to you, Christal. Good morning to St. Vincent
and
the Grenadines. Morning to all the various listeners throughout the world, wherever you are. Activated morning. Good morning.
How are you? How was your weekend? I feel like I haven't seen you in a while. Oh, no, it was just last week Monday.
You haven't seen me in a while.
I feel so. It's been ages.
It's amazing today. Seeing somebody physically is one thing. But then you could see them in live chat. You could see them over the internet. We haven't had that. We haven't had that anyway. But there are a lot of people who I haven't seen for a long time, but I'm actually in close contact with them. I see them every other day on voice messages and video messages and so. And I think that's great. The technology has allowed us to see each other a lot more than we have been seeing them, you know.
Yeah, that's nice. That's really good technology.
And then people
really
send you little videos. The person doesn't know you've been sent a video of something, and really there's a lot there's a lot of video capture taking place that a lot of people don't know about, you know. I was at a funeral over the weekend. Somebody was able to send me back. They saw me at the funeral. You know what I mean?
Oh, they captured you?
They captured me at the funeral.
Only in a public place. So
yes.
They could. They have the right, or yes, they have the right to do that.
Yes.
To record by video or photograph anything and anyone. Sorry, in a public place. Let me say good morning to Trevor. Good morning to Lennon. Good morning to all those folks who've checked in on the WhatsApp. The WhatsApp number is 4579994. And the number to call is 4579997 to connect with us this morning. So the first stop I don't know if you've been paying attention to the news, but there are about 4 cases by now of monkeypox in Trinidad and Tobago.
Mhm.
Now, while it is in TNT and it's not here, I think it's still important for us to discuss it briefly. The symptoms, what to look out for. The Ministry of Health, they have already said that, okay, you know what, we have heightened surveillance and what's not. We're doing whatever we need to do to make sure that we don't have that problem in SVG. So let's talk about monkeypox and its symptoms.
Yes, well,
You being the doctor, of course.
of course, yeah. Well, you know, I I think it's not something to be alarmed about.
Mhm.
I want to say last year there was a big monkeypox outbreak. Matter of fact, it wasn't a pandemic, but it created the same thing like COVID, an emergency authorization process. And so the world was mobilized to look at monkeypox. Now, at the time, there were cases in Jamaica. Jamaica had a number of cases. Barbados had a case. And alerts went out to all the other Caribbean islands. There was a little scare in Guyana where there were a number of persons who seemed, but they were able to announce that there weren't any cases. But since this whole alert in terms of Trinidad, these 4 cases, Guyana, right, has also recorded some cases. And this is of interest for the Caribbean Public Health Organization in terms of what. Now, Barbados has since reported, look, they haven't seen any new cases since their first case. So what's really going on? Because in May, do you know the World Health Organization removed the emergency authorization for monkeypox because cases had dropped down so low that they felt it was no longer the need to have an emergency authorization.
Mhm.
And they added this, that countries should still be vigilant, countries should still be very careful, still watch out for this, because even though the cases dropped so low, therefore one wouldn't know if it would cause a resurgence again. So the fact that you're having cases in Trinidad and Guyana is something of an alarm to developing countries, you know, like in the Caribbean, but I think it may be limited for a number of reasons.
Mhm.
First of all, and I want to say this very carefully, monkeypox is one of these pox-like disease that's a cousin to smallpox. Yes, Sam? We have been able to eradicate smallpox through vaccination. And believe it or not, the same vaccine that's used for smallpox that they still have around can be used for monkeypox,
Really?
but it's only used in a research basis. So anybody who's gonna call and ask, I want a vaccination for monkeypox, I want the smallpox vaccination, I don't think you're gonna get it. You know what I mean? It isn't really necessary to get that at any point in time now. What I want to say is that it comes about from being in very close contact with someone who is also infected. And 98% of cases have actually been shown to be what we call MSM. MSM.
MSN, as in no?
MSM.
Oh,
Men who have sex with men. And there are a number of infectious diseases that are what we call sexually transmitted diseases. They don't label monkeypox as being a sexually transmitted disease, but the evidence suggests that the majority of cases that have been seen have been as a result of some sexual contact. Now, babies, persons who are certainly not exposed to sexual contact have also picked it up because close contact can be from hugging, from all sorts of other reasons. Close contact can be if someone was lying in a bed and some of the virus particles fell off in the bedding, in the pillows, in the sheets, and so forth. That coming in contact with those things can also cause you to pick it up as well. Now, you really want to know a little more about how you get this thing, right? But besides close contact, really the virus gets into little bruises, little cuts, little scrapes, and so forth in your skin. It can get in from inhaling it, as
Openings,
well.
any opening?
Huh?
Any opening?
Yes, from any opening. And when it starts, any kind of viral infection does several things. First of all, you start getting a fever. Whether it's a cold, whether flu, or what, you always have some fever. So fever is nondescript. And then as this starts to circulate, the virus circulates in your blood, it starts to pass your brain, and anything passing through your brain gives you headache, let me tell you. So headache is noticeable. And then it's passing through your muscles too. The blood is passing through your muscles. Anywhere blood is passing through your brain, your muscles, you start having muscle aches because of the inflammation there. And then because muscle aches, you start getting fatigue. This is true of any virus, whether measles, mumps, this up. The difference with chickenpox and measles, which also give you things, is that
Chickenpox and monkeypox.
no, the difference between chickenpox and measles with that of monkeypox, they all of them give you a rash, but the rash is different. And monkeypox gives you something very different. Chickenpox and measles do not give you swollen lymph glands. As blood passes around your body, you have bouncers in your body. You understand? You have bodyguards in your body called lymph nodes. And unfortunately, or fortunately, with monkeypox, you start getting swollen lymph glands under your neck, behind your ears, under your arms, in your groin. But the rash is something that starts off flat. Then it gets like to be a little reddened bump. Then this reddened bump starts getting full of pus. You understand? But a good thing is that it starts to dry up and then they fall off. But during that time of about 2 to 3 weeks, you may be infectious.
Excuse me?
Yes.
2 to 3 weeks?
Yeah, about 2 to 3 weeks, probably 4 weeks, you could be still infectious. So some people would want to confuse these rashes, which is what we typically see. I'm making the point, if you see fever, headache, muscle aches, it could be anything.
Right.
But then when you see the rash and you see these rashes go from flat to being a red bump to being a pustule full of pus and then start to scale up and fall off and scab off, we know this is typically monkeypox. And on top of that, if the lymph glands are swollen, oh boy, well, this may be monkeypox.
Okay.
So in Trinidad and in Guyana and other parts of the world, they would have found this. And then, during COVID, everybody got to know about the PCR test, the PCR machine test. Well, here in St. we got lots of those PCR. So they're able to take some blood and send it, or take some tissue and send it, and they're able to check it for a PCR test, and it will come up being positive for monkeypox if monkeypox is present. If some other virus is present and causing the fever and so forth, measles, chickenpox and so forth, then the monkeypox PCR test will be negative.
Okay, question. I know with some ailments, the rash is concentrated in a particular area. It starts out maybe on your elbows, your hands, your feet, wherever. Is it specific with this one? Does it start anywhere or maybe in the face? Where does it start?
Yes, it can be anywhere, but we tend to see a lot of it in the hands, right? We tend to see it on the back in there, but it can be a number of places. It's kind of nondescript. Some persons would say it's more common in certain locations, but we typically see it in somebody's hands, right? But it can certainly be any part of the body. The thing is that from a public health point of view, you have to continue washing hands. Of course, being careful about the close contact that you're coming. Now, the countries which have had the most cases of monkeypox, of course, the United States has had over about 7,000 cases. Spain, the United Kingdom, Germany, France, but all these cases have now subsided. You understand? And that caused the emergency authorization process to be over in May. And now 2 months, 3 months after that emergency, we are seeing a few more cases here in the Caribbean. It's not unusual because just like COVID, the emergency authorization has finished, but we're still seeing a few COVID cases. So people have to be very careful. Now, monkeypox is not that fatal, right? The vast majority of people recover. Matter of fact, there are two types of monkeypox. Monkeypox, I gotta say this, I hate to say this, and people criticize me for saying this. It did originate in Africa. And there's the East African monkeypox, and there's the West African monkeypox. The West African monkeypox is a little milder. Luckily, the outbreak that we've been seeing over the last year plus has been the West African milder type. But there have been about 20-something deaths from the monkeypox so far. Because guess what? The monkeypox, in addition to affecting your skin, it could affect the inside of your mouth. It could affect your lungs. You could have one of these unusual cases where it causes pneumonia. It could affect your genitals and so forth. And
those are really severe cases.
And those are more severe cases, especially if it gets down into your lungs. There's no treatment for it. You know what I mean? If you start having fever, let's cut down on the fever. If you're having fever and sweats and so forth, there are lots of fluids. Let's dilute it. If you're having muscle aches, you take some Tylenol, Panadol, or so to ease some of the muscle aches and so forth, right?
And get rest.
And get some rest. In certain countries where there's a lot of close contacts, yes, some of your close contacts can be given the smallpox vaccine to help prevent them from getting the monkeypox. But those decisions are some serious public health decisions that have to be made. Usually it's not really required, and so to do so.
Okay. Quite some important information, and especially since we just came out of Carnival. I think that's when I first started really paying close attention to it. Just as Carnival was wrapping up, I was like, wait a minute. There's an influx of people here. Something we should really be on the lookout for. But I mean, we've gone through COVID-19 and really and truly many, if not all of the practices that were drilled into us nationally at that time should stick. But I know for a fact that some of them fell off. Some of them fell off. Some people don't wash their hands
because even though there's a new normal, there is, how do you return as close as possible to normal? How do you dance with somebody? How do you hug somebody at a wedding, or at a funeral or so? These are normal cultural practices. We observe that during the pandemic, the social isolation, the physical distancing, and so did have some impact, And so we want to, look at it. But as soon as anybody gets a fever, a chill. It could be just a simple cold. It could be a flu, but it could be COVID. It could be a monkeypox. You know, it could be one of these things. For those individuals where there might be sexual transmission, we can talk about this, you know, one has to be careful because there's a small amount of people who don't show evidence of poxes, of rash, but they're still infectious. You understand?
Mhm.
They're able to spread the disease or transmit the disease, but they don't have any evidence that they have it themselves. But you could pick it up, right, from that close contact. And it's unfortunate that you wouldn't know until you start to develop fever, headaches, chills, and then the rash starts to come on. And then we notice the characteristic rash and swollen glands and so forth.
Somebody's asking a question on the WhatsApp, and you're able to do that. 4579994.
Yeah.
Is this a subset of another virus? Where was it first identified? Can it jump across species? And what causes the virus to jump across species? That last question is interesting.
Yes, yeah. Now, monkeypox is a type of virus that had affected certain types of monkeys. We went into forest. We went into various places that these animals, you know, cluster together. And we've created something called a zoonosis. A zoonosis. I hate to say this. You know, like, remember a few years ago, the monkeypox, unfortunately, was first discovered in a number of years ago. But they shipped some animals over from Africa to Colorado or Arizona. And those animals were in the same setting as some other animals, prairie dogs. And guess what? The prairie dogs picked up the monkeypox from that. And from the prairie dogs, a number of humans became infected with the monkeypox, right? This was in the United States. It was about 1950 something or so. Since that time, they've had various episodes of monkeypox. So monkeypox is not uncommon. I would say it's a little common in certain parts of Africa. You understand? But in terms of the spread has now come because we can jump on a plane and travel to other places. We've been chopping down jungles and forests. And so Zika is a good example of another virus. There's a forest in Uganda called the Zika forest. And they started chopping down that forest for all sorts of lumber and so forth. And guess what? The Zika virus got out, started infecting people and animals and things like that. So yes, these viruses can affect certain animals. And these other animals, because they are in contact with humans and we eat them, we eat these animals, either as exotic food, pets can sometimes get it. So your cat, your dog, and those sort of things, they too can catch monkeypox.
And then they come and lick your face.
And then you kiss them and so forth and things like that. You make up your face, Christal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
make
know,
up your face.
I'm skinning up my face for two reasons.
But yeah.
The first one is how some of these diseases are so easily transmissible between different animals, and then humans would contract them. And then the other reason is it just seems as though some of the world's most dangerous diseases, they all come from Africa. And I would really love to know why. It's just a lot of diseases just sitting there to be discovered in Africa, of all places in the entire world.
I would say the answer is no, in the sense that syphilis is a South American disease.
That's one.
Do you know that's one? So you know when Columbus went back, a lot of his crew and so forth went back to Europe, took back syphilis and caused a major, major problem. There are huge diseases in what we call Southeast Asia, Myanmar, Malaysia, and Thailand, and Laos, and so forth. There are worms and so forth of strange other things. But international travel has caused many of these diseases to shift. Now, there is a virus, one of the most dangerous viruses in the world, called Lassa fever in Nigeria, that infects a rat. Luckily, that rat can only survive in Nigeria. If that rat was able to survive in a container and reach over, you would see big problems. That's Lassa fever. I did quite a bit of work on that, when I was studying infectious disease. And I'm glad. I mean, Lassa fever is something that makes you start to bleed from your tears,
that's
your
like
nose,
Ebola.
a bit like Ebola. It does almost the same thing like Ebola, but I think it is even more deadly. And we see a lot of cases. So, but monkeypox is really self-limiting, and we take this on. Monkeypox is usually self-limiting.
Let's get it. Hello, Neil.
Lose him? Yeah.
Yeah, so you should put it back on until he calls back. You can try again quickly because we got to take
Yeah,
a break.
monkeypox is usually self-limiting. And I would tell Vincentians, there's not really much to worry about. The same things that you do in relation to preventing COVID, washing your hands, being very careful. Those persons who may be, I would say, sexually active, also being careful. Those persons who may be sexually active with men, and you have traveled to a country that has any of these diseases, this type of disease, and you also have close contact with persons, whether it is MSM, and I'm being cautious as I say inactivated body, the body program, and so forth, talk about it. But these things we must talk about, that one has to be very, very careful about your activities, your behavior, your habits, and so forth.
Good sexual practices
Yes.
across the board.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. It's funny that whenever we talk about certain things, you have to tiptoe around because you don't want to get a kind of a backlash or it's a sensitive nature.
Sometimes
Like
we
it.
can stigmatize. We can, paint a picture that makes people angry at other people. But in terms of public health information, it's really important to talk about it and get over these humps so that people are properly informed, I believe.
I mean, you would state the facts and you would hope that. So here's what. At 8:30, we should be joined by Ready Cash.
Yeah.
So we're going to take a break and run the courts ad and come right back. All right.
Okay.
Perfect timing. So we'll take the additional calls after we get that done.
All right.
At the end of 2023, My Smart Toilet Seat is giving away $50,000. To be eligible to win this cash, you must be a My Smart Toilet Seat customer. So visit our website today at justwashit.vc. Take a look at all our smart toilet seats online. Purchase the one you like and get it delivered to you on the same day. Or you can visit our store on Bay Street in the Blue Corner building opposite the old Anglican school. Make your purchase there and voila, you're a customer. Remember, prices are as low as $150 EC. Now you're on your way to win $50,000.
For more information, visit our website at justwashit.vc or call us at 457-1703.
Refer a friend and get $50 cash back for you and $50 cash back for your friend on loans of $3,000 and over at Courts Ready Cash. Plus, you get flexible payment terms, hassle-free service, and fast approval. All you need is your ID, proof of address, payslip, job letter, and 2 references. Apply now. Visit shopcourts.com. The more friends you refer, the more cash back. What are you waiting for? Make every moment count with a loan from Courts Ready Cash. We are ready when you are. Conditions apply.
WEFM, now on the World Wide Web. Log on to SVG's first online radio station.
Boy, you know. Hey, hey, take it, take the win. If you shall it again, based on my past, I really thought I used to get good charming, really, really good charming. I never yet did I expect any better charming, but then he really go hard and made me.
It's now time for Courts Ready Cash. Hello, good morning. How are you?
Hello, good morning.
Good
I'm
morning.
doing well. How are you doing?
Great for the time being. Lovely to hear you this morning.
Hey, you too. So it's all about our 60 days to pre-promotion. This morning, you know that carnival is over. It's time to deal with back to school.
Oh, yeah.
So you have some books to buy, you have the school uniforms to purchase. You come in and take a cash loan with us of $3,000 or more, and you have 60 days to pay. So you don't have to worry about payment for the end of July, August. Payment starts in September, and you come in and you just take, all you need is your 2 pieces of ID if you're a new customer, 1 piece if you're a returning customer, recent proof of address in the form of a utility bill or bank statement, proof of income in the form of a recent job letter or salary slip. And you come and you get your loan processed, you hear back within 24 hours.
Oh, nice. So locations, all the nitty-gritty things that we need to know. Where can we find you?
Okay, so we're located opposite the Kingston Post Office, and we are open Mondays to Fridays, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. and on Saturdays, 8 a.m. until 12 p.m.
Okay. All right. And contact number? How can we reach
Okay,
you?
so if you need to, you can call us at 456-1325, extensions 2120 through 2124. And yeah, you contact us there. We also have our agricultural fund still available, and to get more information about this, you can contact specifically 493-3840 to speak with our microfinance officer. And the agricultural fund is just basically a US $20 million fund that's being spread across the OECS. You can take a maximum of $20,000 with this loan, and you would just need your valid proof of identification, be aged between 21 and 55 years old. You would need to provide any present sales or purchases that you would have, basically any proof of sales that you would have, and your bank statement for the past 6 months.
Okay. And it doesn't matter what within agriculture you guys could.
No, this is for farmers, specifically for farmers and fisher folk, but within it isn't just for those that go up into the lands and do that kind of farming. It's also for if you do agro processing, if you do things like peanuts and those things, you can also access this loan.
Ah, okay, very nice, very nice. So apart from the back to school, which is in the air right now, and the agriculture, what else can we come to Courts Ready Cash for?
Okay, well, you can also gain access to our payday loans. So maybe you want something to tide you over until end of month. You don't want to use the cash that you have on you right now. So you can get a loan for between $300 and $1,000. And there is no interest rate. It's just a one-time service charge. You come in with the documents and you have 3 months to repay that loan.
Okay.
It's absolutely hassle-free. You don't need any sort of collateral. You come in with your documents, you get your loan processed, and get your cash.
Okay, very nice. Seems how long does it take to get the money?
In some cases you can hear back within the same day, but we tell you 24 hours just to ensure that there is no back and forth.
Okay.
So with some people they can get it within the same day.
Mm-hmm. Is there any way that we could speed up the process?
Just by ensuring that you have all of the documents with you when you come. So once again, that would be the recent job letter and salary slip, proof of address in the form of a recent bank statement or utility bill, and the 2 pieces of ID if you're a new customer, or 1 piece if you are a returning customer.
Okay.
So by ensuring that you bring in all of those, and there will be no hassle whatsoever.
Okay. Is it possible to start the process online, whether it's by email or by the website?
You can start the process by, if you want, you can call us and we can start updating your information with you, but you will absolutely need to bring in the physical documents before anything is processed as to where you can get the cash. But we can start, in order to cut down the turnaround time, we can start entering your information from via the telephone.
Okay, great. Anything else you want to leave with us this morning?
No, just to recap what I would have said. So if you come in and you take a cash loan of $3,000 or more, you would have 60 days to repay. You can also come in and speak with our microfinance officer about the agricultural fund, or if you're just a regular small business owner, you can come in and speak about a small business loan with her as well. You need a bit of influx of cash. You need to buy some sort of equipment. You can come in and speak with her. If you just need a regular personal loan, those are also available. You would need the same documents: the recent job letter, salary slip, the proof of address, and your proof of picture identification.
Okay,
And
great.
Yeah.
You know,
I think I would have covered anything. Pardon?
You know, after all this time, we still don't know your name.
My name is Javon.
Javon.
Yes, please.
Did I get that right? Javon.
Yes,
O?
please. Yes.
Okay.
J-E.
J-E? Javon. Okay. I gotta
Yes,
say it with
please.
a little sass. Javon. All right. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a wonderful day.
All right. No problem. You too.
Thank
All
you very
right.
much. Taking care of the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, providing finance. A little, sometimes things could happen. You need the money now. You can't wait because it's a medical emergency or the children need the books right now. Courts ready cash. They're ready when you are. Now, time for a break, and then we're going to come right back with some more chit chat this morning, right here on Activated Mornings. What are you doing right now?
This summer, protect your eyes and your wallet with sensational savings from Quartz Optical. Trade in and save up to 35% off your purchase, plus a free eye exam. Get what you need today with no catch. Affordable payment plans available from 3 to 24 months. Book your appointment today online at www.quartzoptical.com. Trade in your old glasses and save up to 35% off. Only at Quartz Optical, where the savings are sensational. Conditions apply. See in store for details. Quartz Optical. Value you can see.
That's the sound of your animals. Strong, healthy, and delivering yields you love. That didn't just happen. It began with you feeding them only the best. East Caribbean Feeds. Rest assured, we only produce your feeds with premium ingredients. No hormones, no animal byproducts. Just everything your animal needs for maximum nutrition. Because your animals deserve only the best. East Caribbean Feeds from Maximum Nutrition.
Boy, so where you getting crushed now? Your brakes real good, boy.
Now brakes alone good enough. My tires good too.
Tires? Where you get them tires, boy?
Out by Caribbean Tire Plus, man. They out in Addersville. Can't miss it. Look for the orange container on them. Plenty parking space and open 7 days a week all thing, man. Monday to Saturday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. And on Sundays, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Call them today. Caribbean Tire Plus, 784-432-4786 or email ctiresplus@gmail.com.
It all started with a penny. For over 85 years, we have invested in our farmers, fishermen, people, and our country. When we were called to serve, we were here. We understand what is valuable to our people and our country. That is why we support all industries, including tourism. We are the bridge towards a brighter future and economic growth. When our people, government, and businesses called upon us, we were here. 85 years later, First National Bank St. Lucia Limited is here for you.
Customers of finishing and furnishing are now invited to apply for the CPEA Bursary Application 2023. A copy of the following documents must be submitted along with the application form: official result slip, parent or guardian's ID, and your child's birth paper. The deadline for submissions is August 5th, 2023. Forms are available at Finishing and Furnishing Store, OT Tire Store, and Finishing and Furnishings Factory. For more info, call 784-457-2206. Apply now.
Nothing else sounds as good as WEFM, the clean, fresh sound.
All right, welcome back to Activated Mornings. Of course, we're live on Facebook and YouTube at WEFM 99 SVG, and you can join us by calling us at 457-9997. The number to WhatsApp is 457-9994. Now, there's a question on the WhatsApp here. Somebody's asking, based on the doctor's experience and his knowledge of viruses, do you believe that there are dangerous viruses that we don't know exist?
Absolutely. You know, there are viruses that we have known about for a long time. Smallpox existed long before Christ, was born.
Right.
But other diseases, we've only started seeing them sometime this century because of travel. They might have been just in a particular area because of an animal or so living in that area. As people travel into that area to see wildlife, or people travel out of the area to go to another country, the incubation period may be a couple of weeks. They travel with it, and so it can become infectious in another location. So there are diseases in other parts of the world that haven't reached the Caribbean yet. You understand? And there's some diseases that will probably never reach here, thank God. But recently, things like chikungunya, Zika, all these diseases have been around, but are relatively new to the world. And as viruses mutate, as they evolve, they could become less dangerous and less infectious, or they can become more dangerous and more infectious. So, answer your question, that a resounding yes. We haven't started to see anything yet. Luckily, we have good ability to test, and we have some half-decent treatments, and I encourage people to stay and remain healthy.
You said half-decent treatment. All right. So as there are no further questions or comments, I know somebody was trying to call, so if they want to talk about this one here, you got literally 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. So let's move on to the next little topic here. It is 8:46, by the way. Now we're gonna go back to last week, Thursday, and for quite some time, I think a couple months, the issue of crime has been a very highly trending topic in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, because we're coming off the heels of a national record last year with 42 homicides. While police report at the end of the year would say that there might be a reduction in one area or two, and particular districts as part of their success list of successes, they would have a reduction in certain crimes. The number of homicides for the year for SVG has hit 35 so far, right, for the year. And that is a cause for concern, without a doubt. Because if we continue along this particular rate, then we're going to exceed the national record of 42. Doc, you didn't get a chance to speak on this. So
you spoke about it last week.
Touched on it.
You touched on it.
But you didn't get a chance.
Over the weekend, I saw a posting on Facebook from a Jamaican blogger who was giving something of a rundown of what's happening in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And I don't want to call name, but they were talking about a particular gang, right? And this gang, apparently has had a breakup, a split in it, where one faction has split from the other, and they are at war with each other. And that you're seeing attacks and retaliations and so forth that seem to be fueling from gang activities a lot of the crime wave. Certainly when the Prime Minister met with the Secretary of State of the United States, Blinken, he raised one issue, he raised many issues, but one of them was the trafficking of guns from the United States down to the Caribbean and other countries, the ease by which that happens, how that happens and what happens, and was asking for some assistance in that regard. Because clearly, at that Thursday night, you could hear those automatic or semi-automatic guns going off, and so that's scary, right? Scary for the ordinary citizen of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, because we always think of stray bullets and ricochet and friendly fire, all that kind of thing. You know, I don't know if that 13-year-old was involved in any gang activity.
From what we,
or whether the person was a innocent bystander who happened to be out that evening at that time, and so.
The latter, from what we understand, just went to make a purchase nearby, and on his way back to his original location, that's when the incident happened. So wrong place, wrong time.
Wrong place, wrong time. And but the cause of it seemed to be, I was astonished by how that blog, I'm not going to mention any name, I'm going to mention the name of the gang either. You know what I mean? I don't know if you saw this, Christal.
I saw the video.
You thought it was authentic? You thought that it was remarkable, detailed description.
Quite a number of people would have sent it to me to take a look at. I think I looked at a small portion of it but from what I understand, because I don't want to divulge too much information on it. First question was, okay, this is a non-Vincentian. How do you know so much, right? And secondly, how do you know that what you are sharing about a country that's not yours or a grouping that's not yours is factual? I don't want to refer to that well-known group as a gang, because from what I understand, it started out as a community group, and you would see them in various events across the country in a very positive light.
I'll see them at Soca Monarch in the early days, bringing their flags and
Actually, not in the early days. This year, we saw them in Soca Monarch.
Yes. But I saw them, I'm talking about, for me, I wasn't at Soca Monarch this year, but I remember seeing them very early, supporting who they were choosing to support, you know. And,
if my memory serves me right, and I think I'm 100% correct, I saw them at Soca Monarch this year. Now, while some people may know some folks or groupings or people, whichever organizations, in a certain light because that's all they're exposed to, there might be like another side. So I don't know of another side to this group. But you just have to be so careful with when you're blogging and when you're an influencer that you don't share misinformation about people and about countries, because it looks bad. It sounds bad too.
Yes, it sounds bad, but I suppose this is what influencer and so forth is all about.
Yeah, but did you go on the ground? Did you ask the people in the grouping?
think, I suppose that's the whole thing about social media. You don't need to be on the ground. Yes,
okay, but what were his references for that video?
That's the point. That's the point. You won't say those references because saying those references would be dangerous, you know. And obviously, being an influencer, you're being an influencer and a blogger. You basically have people from all over the place, not just from Jamaica. From all over the place who are listening to you, who want to hear about Vibes Cartel, who want to hear about Movado, this, that, and so forth. And they communicate with you. And you could reach back to them to find what's really happening here, there, and so forth. It's very interesting because this is also the way in which the police now get a lot of their information. You know what I mean? through these particular means. Guys ain't gonna be sending no email, and guys ain't gonna be coming up and picking up the phone and talking and so forth. It is text and so on. People would have this information. I think there's something to it, Christal. There's something to it. And you don't, I haven't seen in terms of Facebook and people giving references, got this from this story and so and so and so and so.
I know, but there are sometimes, and this is something you have to be very careful of. There are folks like influencers who will just hear one little thing, they will just see something, they might know one little thing, and then they jump to conclusions and they take certain information as fact when the information that they're receiving is not factual. And then they go and they spread it like not knowing that is not factual. But did you do your fact checking? And I think for certain things you kind of need to be on the ground for it.
No, you don't have to be on the ground. But
for certain things,
in general, I think that it's good that in the same way you received it, I received it. I'm sure the police would have received it. And the police would be able to couple that with whatever information they have and be able to take a lead. Because that's the whole point, We need information to get to the bottom of things. And most of the time, people are afraid to share information. Okay, the wrong information may be shared, may be embarrassing. It may not be information we want to hear, but we don't also want to hear, those gunshots and so forth. It's quite scary and embarrassing too, So I think it's interesting that the police, I'm sure, would now have access to that information and couple it with whatever investigative data they have. I'm hoping they're able to solve these particular crimes and so serious,
5 at one time.
Yeah.
A young but I never hear about
Let's take
that.
this call here.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Morning,
it has been a painstaking morning for me, boy. Oh, gosh. It's been a painstaking morning for me listening to some of these happenings in once upon a time. A blessed country, Iruna, home of... Let me ask you guys, especially the doctor who's been around. I know Christal is up and coming and sounding very good.
I have been around. I'm now past it, Dave. That's what you're saying? Huh?
All right, okay. Let's not waste no time on that. But
thank you.
This country,
go ahead.
This country, in your opinion, how do you rate this country in the Caribbean of all our CARICOM neighbors? St. Lucia, Dominica, Grenada. I want to know how you rate our country in terms of its development, its mindset, its outlook, and our behavior as a people. If you could just answer me in one sentence, let me just add something quick.
Oh, well, okay, one sentence. Dave, it's a very mixed picture.
No, I can't wait too long.
Wait a second. You can't dictate to me whatever. Come on, Dave. Listen, I'm saying it's a second. I'm answering your question. Give me the time. I'm saying it's a mixed picture. When you see airport, port, hotel development, fine. This thing in terms of the shooting is of clear concern in terms of crime. But boy, St. Lucia, Trinidad, Barbados, Jamaica, you're saying you want to rate St. Vincent. I'm curious what you may want to say.
I'm asking you for the rating. Okay, I was expecting St. Vincent. Would you say St. Vincent is number one in our CARICOM region, where progress, success, and everything is concerned? Would you say we are leading the way in terms of...
I'll tell you something. Where you see, one second. Where you see St. Vincent is now the president of CELAC and leading the Caribbean and Latin America and Europe. Where you see, I'm seeing a port emerge from our eyes in terms of a transshipment port. I think those are very positive things. But at the same time, one has to be certain concerned, like what's happening in other islands of the region, about real, some terrible things,
Let me just
especially in relation to
quick.
crime.
As a Vincentian,
Yeah.
as a Vincentian who love my country,
Yeah.
I don't love no political party, whether be it the regime that is in office or the opposition. I don't love none of them like how I love Saint Vincent and the Grenadines.
Yes, yes.
I just want to get it across in the strongest way possible.
Yes.
But now we have a lot of political smart men who believe they have more brains than anybody else. And this gets to me.
Yes.
This really gets to me. And they think they're talking down to people as they used to talk down to them a long time ago. Now if you say about education revolution, you have to give people a chance to express themselves. And you have got to, I mean, treat everyone in this country.
Yes.
Not because of political affiliation. You have to treat them special. No, sir. Because we will never have peace and prosperity if we look at it this way. Anyhow, I gone.
Thank you very much, Dave. Okay.
All right,
Yeah.
thank you for your call.
Yes. Well, I think, sometimes when somebody asks you for something in one word, you have to be really a smart individual to find out one word. But
I thought it was one sentence he said.
Huh?
I thought it was one sentence he said.
One sentence, yeah. But whether one word or one sentence, whether you could do it in one sentence, I'm not that type of individual. Sorry, somebody else may be able to do it because you are likely, unless you have studied it and written it down and revised it and so forth and know the question, you can't read it. But there's no doubt that crime is something of concern. But from a development point of view, I mean, I don't. Christal, have you been down to Buckament and seen the Sandals Beaches Hotel? And so that's looking absolutely phenomenal. You see Maya, the Maya's looking great. The Holiday Inn is moving along. You see a number of things from a tourism point of view, I think certainly happening. But in between, there are things that we have to get right, not just small things, some big things. And I think that's a fair assessment. But I think Dave wanted me to say the St. Vincent's the worst, this and so forth, the places. Not at all. Absolutely not at all. And somebody have a different opinion to me, express it, right? And what used to be the situation 30, 40, 50 years ago is certainly going to be different today. Christal, what do you think? You're itching to you itching of the 16 country. You want to say St. Vincent's number 60, the worst of the worst, eh? You're coming out of the carnival, we the worst carnival out, we the worst this, worst that.
No, I'm
You're
not.
that
I'm not
type
the
of
kind of
person?
person. I'm not the kind of person who would just say it's the worst for the worst because
But that's a nice sentence, That's the whole point. Yeah.
Where we are behind, that means that there's opportunity for growth.
Good, yes.
But realistically, we have to look at ourselves in comparison in terms of crime, I think, and homicide rates.
Yes.
They do it all the time. They compare all countries. Statista, I think it's statista.org or statista.com. I can't remember what it ends with. They compare the countries in terms of rape, homicides, all other statistics, population, male, female, all these things. So maybe at the end of the year, or we could do it now, mid-year, we have to compare ourselves to other countries to see what is working for them and what maybe we can implement to try to lower whatever rates we're trying to lower. All right, it's 9:01. We're going to take a break. Come right back with the ECCB bank rates for this time.
Brick by brick, piece by piece, building with technology, helping wealth increase, starting small, building the future, doing more every day, doing more together. The bank we count on, BOSVG. Our one bank together, we're strong. Our nation's bank, standing long and proud. One bank, one voice, sing it loud. BOSVG. Hey, building our future. Doing more together.
OSBG, doing more together.
Good morning and welcome to the ECCB Bank Rates for today, Monday, July 24th. Brought to you compliments the Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The following are today's indicative rates in Eastern Caribbean dollars for key international and regional currencies. These rates will not apply to commercial banks' transactions with the public. The Barbados dollar 1.35, Canadian dollar 2.04646, Swiss franc 3.11293, Euro 2.99214, Pound sterling 3.46343, United States dollar 2.70, and the Guyana dollar 0.01312. There you have it, the ECCB Bank Rates for today. Thank you for listening, and thanks to the Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines for sponsoring.
Brick by brick, piece by piece, building with technology, helping wealth increase, starting small, building the future, doing more every day, doing more together. BOSVG, the bank we count on. BOSVG, our one bank together, we're strong. Our nation's bank, standing long and proud. One bank, one voice, sing it loud. BOSVG. Hey, building our future. Doing more together.
OSBG, doing more together.
Alan Smith and Family Bakery, the worldwide name for all your bakery needs, specializing in wedding cakes, birthday cakes, the world famous hard dough and light dough, multi-grain by special order, and now available baguette bread at all your leading supermarket outlets. And for that sweet tooth, currant rolls, jam buns, homemade sweet bread, guava and apple tarts, butter and oatmeal cookies, and for your savory needs, beef and chicken patties. Alan Smith and Family Bakery supplies bread to the Grenadines, Leeward and Woodward side of the island. Contact us at Alan Smith Family Bakery at gmail.com. Call us 457-8317, 457-8550, or 533-0943. Located along the main road in Camden Park Industrial Estate, we are the healthy choice. All our products are made with 0 grams trans fat ingredients. Quality is our passion. We open Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. Saturdays, 7 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Sundays and public holidays, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Thank you for your patronage over the years and for your continued support in the years ahead.
Whatever you are celebrating, but just celebrating life. The place to be is at Basil's Bar Kingstown. Established for over 38 years, we are open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner with an exquisite ambiance. We have a set menu and 3 a la carte menus to choose from, and we are flexible to all requests. We go above and beyond to serve you. Basil's Bar Kingstown, where it's more than just a meal, it's an adventure. Call for reservations at 457-2713.
General Hardware still has the best prices on steel, lumber, and plywood. So go on, compare prices. And if by chance you find a better price, no stress. Just talk to the General, and they will beat that price plus give you special priority delivery. Yes, General Hardware offers free island-wide delivery on most purchases, so you never have to worry about getting your goods on site on time. Plus, shopping at General Hardware is a pleasant experience with friendly, knowledgeable staff always ready to serve. What more could you wish for, huh? So come to General Hardware for proper service, lowest prices, free delivery, and see why nobody beats the General. Nobody.
For over 20 years, Cubano Limited professionally delivers top quality products and exceptional service. Located in Sand Hill in Kingstown, we are open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and on Saturdays, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. We supply animal feed, dog and cat food, animal supplements, a wide range of floral supplies, nursery pots, ground cover and shade cloth, and much more. We also stock a wide range of motor vehicle supplies, including automotive oils, filters for all vehicles, engine coolants, and much more. Email us today at cubano_1@hotmail.com or call us today 451-2911 or 493-7175. Cubano Limited, professional, top quality, and exceptional service.
WEFM reminds and encourages the general public and users of the Kittles Beach to keep it clean at all times. Discard of all garbage properly. It is illegal to remove the sand from the beach. Let us keep the Kittles Beach and other beaches across St. Vincent and the Grenadines clean so that you and I can enjoy it and marine life can survive. This is a message from WEFM 99.9, the clean, fresh sound.
WEFM is SVG.
Welcome back to Activated Mornings for today. And the WhatsApp number is 4579994. The number to call, 4579997. Your host this morning, yours truly, Christal, and Dr. Jerrol Thompson. We started talking about monkeypox, and then we moved on to that YouTube video from a Jamaican blogger about a well-known group in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And so now we're talking about crime. You know, you asked me, or you said that I looked like I was itching to say something, right? Now, apart from the high maintenance woman, that's a lot of high maintenance women last week Thursday. But anyways, apart from everybody jumping in conversation and, okay, this seems to be the cause of this crime, that seems to be the cause of this crime, and they would list so many causes of crime. But what happens after we identify causes of crime or possible causes that are specific to St. Vincent and the Grenadines or even the region? What happens after that is my biggest question.
Yeah.
Has been my biggest question and will always be my biggest question.
Yeah.
What is the action after the talk?
Yes. Well, let's look at some of the causes. It was a very interesting article, Ernesto Cook. I'm trying to figure out the date, but in it,
What's the title?
Oh gosh, what's the title? St. Vincent struggling to deal with in terms of the crime rate. But one of the sections,
I wanted to look it up too.
yes, well, let's find it.
Oh.
You know, I will look it up, but you know, I'm about to read it, so we'll have a pause. You know what I mean? But what is responsible for this homicide? According to the authorities, he's writing, the rise in murder rate in St. Vincent and the Grenadines is mainly attributed to young people falling in love with the gun culture and the cocaine trade. The increase in young male gun ownership was emphasized by Prime Minister Ralph Gonsalves in September of 2022, that's last year, who also emphasized that there is no opportunity in guns. It makes no sense. 32 homicides had been reported in St. Vincent at the time of Gonsalves' message. So this was in relation to what you say. Now, what it goes on to say is they also look at the police. They're saying that the police sometimes has had some inappropriate reactions and statements and so forth. And this is what I want to come to. Because I've been listening to people and people say, man, the police need to come down hard to search people, need to do this and so forth. But on the other hand, that will be viewed by other individuals being harassment and would aggravate the situation and so on. But here, what we're seeing is, if that blogger, if what that blogger is true, I don't want to dismiss it, Christal, but if what the blogger is saying, that there is a split in a notable gang, and that there is fighting among themselves, and that particular process, and this article tries to touch on that too, you know? But in terms of answering your question, how is crime being combated? There's no doubt that the presence and the prevalence of guns, especially automatic guns, has to be addressed, right? So that some measures have to be done in terms of getting those guns off of the street. How do you get certain young males and so disinterested in settling their score or showing their power through the gun? No doubt in terms of the cocaine trade, and they pointed out in this article certain catchment in Owea, in Wallalaboo, and so forth over a period of time that have yielded cocaine use, so cocaine, things like that. I think that the public discussion, the public education, there is also a need for people to be able to report a little more of what they see and what they know in a confidential manner. I have a sense that some people are a little afraid to talk. They certainly don't want to give evidence. They certainly don't want to say, because they fear retaliation, they fear reprisals and so and things like that nature. But I don't necessarily have all the answers, but I think that some of what I've said kind of captures a lot of the solutions. Looking at guns, a little attention to some of our young males, right? You know, and certainly in terms of getting cooperation around the region, and so in terms of gun trade and so forth, and the whole thing of combating gang violence and the way people settle score, I think is important.
Mm-hmm. So I found the story, the article that you were talking about. Yeah. It's from January of this year.
January this year.
January the 2nd, 2023. Yeah. And it started off speaking about the 42 homicides from last year.
Yeah.
Most of them male. And I saw it says as well, and I think it's worth repeating what the story said. According to the authorities, the rising murder rate in St. Vincent and the Grenadines is attributed mainly to young people falling in love with the gun culture and the cocaine trade. The increase in young male ownership was emphasized by PM Gonsalves in September of 2022, who also emphasized that there's no opportunity in guns. I just wanted to repeat that because I think it's important and worth repeating.
Yeah. Yes. I
It is. Now, crime is not black and white.
It isn't.
There is a great area of shaded gray in between there. While some of the homicides are out of crimes of passion and very few from domestic issues, the vast majority are by the gun. We don't manufacture guns here. They have to come in somehow through some vent. Let me put it that way. Through some entrance. And looking at SVG, and I've said this from time to time, we're so small, one. We got so many areas where anything can come in because we don't have enough police to circle the entire 32 islands and keys. We cannot put a border around the entire island to say, okay, nothing at all. Not even a bird could fly through here. Looking at it at face value, it seems rather easy for anything to get into the country. Some of the guns come right under our noses.
Under our noses.
Under our noses. You have to conclude that. Because earlier this year, there was an issue at the port with a barrel. And in that barrel, there were some guns. Up to this date, nobody has been held accountable for that. Barrels don't come into the country without a name on the barrel. They don't come into the country without a sender either. And I remember after that, the conversation was had, okay, one of the biggest problems is the countries that manufacture the guns, the countries where these guns come from. But if they don't have sufficient laws, then we're just going to sit down here and just continue catching cold without coming up with the right mechanisms and the right treatment for the issue. Now, I can put a nice little smoothie and milkshake there. I know I'm lactose intolerant, but I'm looking real enticing. I could resist the urge to drink it. Or I could lose control and I can drink it because it tastes nice. What is it so appealing about the gun to
young person?
I don't want to be specific to males, but if you check the statistics, the people who are getting in trouble with guns and ammunition illegally, I can only remember one story with one woman. What is so attractive to our young males?
Christal,
why is the gun so appealing?
Christal, let me tell you something. There was a meeting of the Social Workers Association of the University Center, and I raised the question that over the last 2 decades, people have been saying we should pay some attention to young males. But really, a lot of the attention has been more gender related. When people hear about gender, they talk about women, the plight of women being left out and so forth. You could do both. I don't think enough attention is being placed to young male. But let me say this. I want to be very careful. I'm not advertising this. I am told that to get somebody popped off, you could do it for $300. I am told that some persons, you don't even have to give them any money. You could tell them, keep the implement that we're giving you to do it. Christal, I am irresponsible for saying that on radio. I feel as if I'm advertising something. But if it is true that you could get somebody knocked off for 300 or the ownership of a gun, we got to dig deep into your question. What is that attraction to? It probably goes back a long way. I remember when I was a young boy and so forth, I played cowboys and Indians. I played cops and robbers, but I think it brings in this modern day a sense of power. It empowers that young male feeling he's invincible. And what we've seen on television and so forth, there's enough media releases that can twist and turn a young mind into thinking that the gun is. Now, this is not just here in Africa. They're picking up young boys and so forth and incorporating them into the various armies, and I'm talking about militia armies and military thing. What's happening in Darfur, what's happening in Boko Haram, what's happening? A lot of young males and so forth are involved, you know, and they're given a semi or an automatic and as power. So it is rather strange. We see this in South America, in Colombia, all these kind of things and so forth taking place. So I don't have all the answers. And you've asked those questions. Sociologists really have to dig deep. But on the other hand, do you pick up all the young males and start to send them through boot camp and so forth? No, you can't do that. You know, those methods won't really work. But I think that we do have to get something done in terms of engagement in these particular groups, talking to them to see how scores can be settled differently, how there could be a downplay of these things. I'm not sure if that's being done sufficiently.
We have a morality problem. Because if you put a price, and I remember earlier this year too, there was a $500 stock. Was it this year or late last year? The $500 stock. And then two or three men get charged for murder of two gentlemen. $1,500 was the price.
Yeah.
When you get to the stage where you put, and I don't want to be comparing small price to a bigger price, but you put a triple digit figure on somebody's life that cannot come back. It's definite. It's final. Once they're gone, they're gone. When you put a price tag on somebody's life, we've lost our moral fiber.
Well, I'll tell you something. I am not going to make it here. If one goes back to slavery, if one goes back to Jim Crow, lynching, all this sort of thing, what's happening in a lot of different parts of the world, of the discrimination, what's happening in between tribal warfare between one group and another. Honduras. Don't talk about Honduras and what's happening in El Salvador and those sort of places. I mean, it's sick what's taking place. Don't talk about what's happening between the Bloods and the Crips in Los Angeles and so and things like that, or in different parts of the world. I think that the fact that it has reached home to St. Vincent and the Caribbean, it's been there in Jamaica, it's been there in Trinidad. When you start looking at the stats, Trinidad is crazy, you know? Trinidad is absolutely mad. And they've been wrestling with their crime situation for a long time. I understand now in Lavantil, you can't go into those kind of places and come out if you're a stranger. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
No.
Now, I'm saying as a Vincentian, say you're going to visit somebody and so forth. I'm a Vinci, don't worry, I'm a Vinci. You know what I mean? You can't do that.
It depends on who you're going with.
Who you're going with. But I'm saying, but the point I am trying to point out is that the socioeconomics as well of crime, where fast money, people want to make money, and people want to live a particular lifestyle, they see this and so, and education-wise, whether they have it educationally, and they try to take out the way, or they don't have it educationally, they see being part of a group that you are, whether a foot soldier, you are a lieutenant, or you're part of the thing, is better than what has existed before. You know what I mean? You've lost hope in society. And then when somebody comes and says, boy, you ain't getting enough, come over to my side, to my fraction, and let us get rid of all those other people over there. Because if we don't get rid of all of them, they will come back to hit us also. They'll retaliate. So we have to hit all of them. The thinking, Christal, comes down to knowing that there'll be retaliations. And so therefore, hitting as many persons as possible who would retaliate. But the retaliation still takes place because their cousins, their brothers in other islands, their brothers in Trinidad and others who were here and say, and a year later, 2 years later, 3 years later, they still want to get their revenge.
5 years later.
You know?
Children who grew up, sometimes and take that hate.
But I want to say, when you start thinking about the morality of slavery, the morality of Jim Crow, where there were lynchings right up until the 50s, where today people still disappear, where the police target Black people and so forth and things like that. That is not what we are dealing with here in St. Vincent. But it's coming home to roost in the sense that a lot of our people have traveled overseas. Some have come back. Some have been sent back. We have a lot of people able to see what's going on because of social media and blogs and so music, whatever is said, and so in music can have that influence. There's a host of different influences that's shifting things in the wrong direction. And we got to push back. Society has to push back. We can't leave this to come there, because I've walked the streets of Brooklyn. I've walked the streets of Philly, and I know how scary it can be. And I want to be able to walk the street. As a doctor, Cuban doctor who get stabbed and so forth, I would wonder to myself, boy, I wonder if they're targeting doctors. You know what I mean? I wonder if somebody has an eye on me. You know what I'm saying? And Christal, it is that the world has gotten smaller, right? And
it's a smaller, what do you mean?
The world hasn't gotten bigger. The world has gotten smaller. What's going on out there is influencing what's taking place here. Our neighbors, and attitudes and so are coming right home in our backyard, in our front yards, and so forth.
You see that thing called influence, boy?
You
see that thing called influence?
Yeah.
Here's how I feel about influence. Depending on what you have up here in your head, if you don't have a solid foundation, you can be easily influenced and swayed anyway. If you start off with a solid foundation, solid morals, good teachings, right? You are obedient, even if you get in a little trouble every now and then. Always somebody from home or the village who is able to put you straight. If you start out, you don't think that you will be less likely to be attracted to, never mind there are exceptions to every rule. You don't think that you'll be less likely to be attracted to, let's say, the gun?
Yes, that is true. But how many persons are able to grow up in a stable family with the influence of mother and father and grandparents and so forth? How many families are able to grow up without the impact of alcohol, without the issues of some elements of poverty, wanting, of not having certain things, electricity, water, of having a laptop, of having a phone, of having these things, having the right sneakers, and so the right branded sneakers.
And then the bullying from school, right?
And social bullying, all these kind of things, and so
I'm saying somebody else.
I'm saying the chances, but tell you the truth, a lot of people in St. Vincent, I tell you, are performing.
Oh,
a lot of people are performing. All it needs, and in this same article and so forth, where they were talking about, or another article, the commissioner of police saying, we're talking about 100 individuals. 100 individuals who they found are the perpetrators of crime repeatedly, and gangs and so forth. And they are the ones primarily responsible. So the big question is, do you target them with draconian measures, with rough, more you know, measures, people are advocating that, you know, pull them in, watch them, monitor them, this, the other, and so forth, infringe their rights, so to speak, you know. And the other hand, others are saying, well, find them jobs, find them this, you know, and so forth. I'm not absolutely sure what is going to work. I think that these incidents of crime and violence are things like that. I mean, St. Lucia had it last year, big time. Trinidad and Jamaica been having some gruesome murders. You know what I mean?
Wait, speaking of St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines didn't go over to St. Lucia to help them out with their crime situation with gang and reprisal killings and so on?
Absolutely, absolutely. And here one of the reasons why they went. They also went as a learning measure, and they also knew that if nothing is done, it will come home. You understand? What is going on in St. Lucia will eventually come home to places like St. Vincent, because there's a population that goes back and forth. You know, there's a lot of connections. There's a lot of connections between Grenada and St. Vincent. A lot of connections between Trinidad and Grenada and St. Vincent. You know, so that thinking that we are isolated and we can ring fence St. Vincent and insulate it from outside influences, as you've talked about, is not that always possible, you know? And it's a matter of how much measures do you put in place that may seem as if they infringe an individual rights. And there'll be lawyers who come and say, no, you can't do this and you can't do that because you're infringing this person's right. He is, there's no proof, you don't have no evidence, you have no camera, nobody has squealed on him, nobody has come up and given evidence on him, they're afraid to do so. So therefore, you can't convict him. The DPP will say, I don't have enough evidence to put this person away or to reprimand that individual. That individual then starts feeling bold, untouchable, that they could get away with things because they have a good lawyer or because they are recruiting other people to do the job for them, and these other people are gonna tell on them. You understand, Christal? So we've seen this around the world, whether it's the Pablo Escobar or whether it is the Gottis or whether it's the leaders have to try and maintain power and they get very aggressive about it, right? And for whatever they're getting in return, you know, they essentially are prepared to go the limit in retaining that power. And with the gun behind them and so forth, they're willing to use it and even pop off some of their former friends, you know, because they demand loyalty.
So that's it then, power.
Boy, it is power at different levels. You know, in a marriage, a man may feel he has the power. A woman may feel the power, start to beat his wife and all that kind of power. You understand? You know? Or beat the kids. You have problems at work, you come home, you beat the kids. You ain't got the power at work, but you come home, you beat the kids, beat your wife, right? Those defense mechanisms and so forth. Whereas on the other hand, in a gang, an individual sees he has 15, 20 people. He knows that he's sharing out a little bit today. They haven't cooked. He's buying the food, he's buying the chicken, he's buying. The pot tastes nice and so forth. They bring out the rum, bring out the Guinness smooth, you know, they have drinks. They're feeling part of something. And they start feeling more of a part of that than being a part of the family structure and going to church and so forth. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I understand and I agree. You go where you feel appreciated and loved, even if it's not real. You and your mind not gonna think about that or realize it, but because you feel wanted and you feel like you fit in, so you just stay there. But
some of these leaders are pretty smart too. You will find some of them have subjects. They've even got degrees and so forth. You know, but they've decided that this is the best way they will take approach things.
You know what's funny is that the principals, the principals, some of the points you could see in other areas in terms of leadership and so on. You could see them in other areas. It doesn't have to be with ill intent, a group with ill intent, but some other groupings, you see that sort of, all right, you have to maintain control, so you have to do certain things. It's not always a bad thing, but I see it. I could see it.
That power base, if you are a leader, you ain't doing much, right? And it's just a cook, and it's just a thing. People start saying, well, how can I get money? I could buy my own things. How do I get a new pair of sneakers, a new pair of jeans, a new pair of this and so forth? And so they start getting involved in crime, the cocaine industry and so forth.
Take little and live long.
Yeah?
Take little and live long.
Yeah. It's,
there are some people who are doctors now, not
Mhm.
necessarily medical doctors, but they grew up without light, grew up without water, grew up in a single parent household.
Yeah.
Right? Some of them grew up in the quote unquote ghetto.
Yeah.
And still made it.
Yes.
And made a good name for themselves.
And there's some who didn't.
And there's some folks who didn't.
And that's why I think I know you try to emphasize, why haven't all of them made it and become professional? Because
Well, I'm trying to emphasize that there is a possibility.
Yes.
If he or she does not believe that it is possible
True,
for him, there
true,
is a possibility, because if it only takes one person to set an
Mhm.
example, it means that it is possible. So why not you?
Mhm.
Why you don't choose
Well,
a
you see,
different lifestyle?
I tell you, that's one of the things, I am really happy to see the thrust in tourism. See those couple of hundred people who went off to Turks and Caicos and St. Lucia with sandals. And when Sandals Beaches is finished, you see them going to come back and fall in and jobs. And so I like that. I like
You
that.
think that will cut it back?
Huh?
You think that's going to cut it back?
I think it will cut back. How they say one fill basket.
Fill basket.
Can you do it all at once? Can you create jobs all at once? I hope you can, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Not everybody will take them up anyways.
And not everybody will take them up. And in
Not
terms
only
of,
that, they will still at the work and still go and rob and thief and kill.
but in my view, I think it will be lessened. Okay. And if we talk about 100 persons who are involved in crime and it comes down to just 20, then guess what? The police have it a little easier. They know their suspect, they know their targets. We now have CCTV cameras around the place. We have various things. We probably need more. So you're able to pick up things a lot better, because, at the scene of the crime, there may not be cameras, but half a mile away, there is a camera picking up that car and that number plate, and so going in this direction. And then another CCTV 3 miles away that see it pulling into a yard, and so.
Boy.
That's what is helpful. That's all that stuff is helpful.
So we got to have CCTV in every nook and cranny.
This is just one small thing that will help in terms of solving the crime, because you got to get the crime individuals off the street and off the block. And at the same time, the people who are vulnerable, falling in with them, you got to re-educate them, find them jobs, find them opportunities, and so forth. You know what I mean?
Stiffer penalties too. You get caught with a gun, you stay behind it for life, man. Where get a gun for? You don't mean you have ill intent?
Yeah.
Anyways, that cannot happen. Because laws are the laws. You know how it is. 9:41. Somebody says here the attraction to guns among young men is not just for protecting false belief, protecting themselves. It is the power of pulling a trigger to end someone else's life that you don't like.
Someone else you don't. That whole thing, you wonder what will happen. I remember as a young doctor seeing a father come into an emergency room in New York. His son had found a gun, found it saw him polishing it and so forth, found it, and fired it at his father just to see what would happen. It went through his belly. You understand? Now that patient survived. But, and it's good that he was only 10 minutes away from a hospital. So with the emergency, they got him to the hospital. We worked on him and so forth, got the bullet out and patched him up. He lost a couple of feet of intestines as a result and took a long time to recover, but recovered. But that young boy who shot his dad just wanted to see what it was like. He's seen it on television. What is it like? Bang, bang, you're dead, Dad. You know what I mean? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Not realizing that he's actually doing it. You know? Not realizing the impact. There's the power in that. Christal?
Yes, sir.
We've talked a lot this morning.
And we will
Yeah.
continue to talk
Boy, it's
because this conversation will never end.
I hope that this is just a temporary phase, that even though it follows on from last year, and that we can get over this. And it's my appeal to the young males of the nation that in spite of the challenges, in spite of wanting to be relevant, in spite of wanting to feel a sense of power, belonging, and so we've got to choose the right pathway, you know? And for the police, well, they got to step things up. People calling for more draconian measure, but they got to do certain things that still are within the law. And with that, Christal, that's me. It's always a pleasure.
Before you go, there's this last comment here. But what checks and balances are in place when within the society we see persons showing signs of living beyond their means, acquiring cash and assets that's not in sync with their legal income? That's the root of the problem, and it seems like we are skipping around it.
It doesn't seem that we're skipping around it. You know, in terms of investigations and so, somebody who gets a little money, you have to show it on a consistent basis. Financial intelligence and so, they watch things over a period of time. You understand? It isn't one time somebody gets some money and then you later find out that their cousin from England sent them some money to help build a house or something so for them. You know what I mean? It ain't like that. But there's a lot of things in place, transfers of money. I mean, I tell you, I have to send some money to my daughter who's at university every month. And the bank, I got to go through a lot of strings and so forth every single time. At Western Union, I can't really send money because they say I am a politically exposed person. I'm a pep, you know? So I'm a pep. I can't send, you know?
You can't do a lot of things, Pep.
Oh boy, I tell you, boy.
You got like 20 extra eyes on you.
Yes, but that individual is right. Those are the areas we got to look at. Those are the areas we got to look at. So we don't think we could take this call, you know?
Yeah, too. And you know, when you see people looking all flashy and
Should we take it? Should we take it? Take the call? Let's see.
Make it really quick. Gotta make it really quick. Got like 1 minute. Hello, good morning.
Morning, Doc. Morning, Christal.
Good morning. How are you?
How are you? Morning.
I'm trying to stay as focused as the good Lord will allow me.
Yes.
I just call to say that people talking about draconian measures and what they should do with the gunmen and this kind of thing. But you know, I always say a gun is no use without a bullet. And a gunman and a gun salesman, his guns will be no use unless he have someone to purchase, a purchaser. So I would want more or less to look at the people who actually sell these guns or bring these guns into the various countries of the Caribbean. And there's very draconian measures should be meted out. But you know, now here in Barbados, they have a great lawyer called David Simmons. I don't know if you familiar with him.
Oh yes.
Christal might be too young to know him.
Yeah.
Christal, am I right?
Yeah.
Right. Right. Oh, you're still a baby. You're still a baby.
Listen to Baba.
Anyway, Dr. Thompson, this David Simmons, he did some research. Started from Venezuela and coming through Trinidad, through Grenada, through St. Vincent, Barbados, and going at the Caribbean chain, up the archipelago with his guns business. So based on his research, he think a lot of the guns in the Caribbean, the Southern Caribbean, came through Venezuela. And I mean, he's and you know, nobody seems to have taken him seriously.
Okay.
And I don't understand why they would not, further investigate what he was saying to see if they could come up with some of the gun runners. But I just want to say that I just want to offer that family in St. Vincent, those two families, or those 5 families, my condolence, my sincerest of condolence for the loss of the 2 and then the 5. It was sad. It is indeed sad news.
Yeah.
And, when these things happen, it affects tourism because it affects tourism everywhere. Because they'll say, man, I ain't getting on the Caribbean. The Caribbean is a terrible place. But, they would not try to differentiate and say, well, I can still go to St. Vincent, but I may not stop on the mainland. I may go on the Grenadines, where it's a little quieter, a little bit more, have a little bit more beauty. But they wouldn't look at it that way. They would say, man, I ain't getting no book down there, they got tourist silence. And it is unfortunate. It is sad to see what our beautiful Caribbean is coming to. That is why I say that Caribbean integration is exercising futility.
No. Because integration, we need that cooperation. We need that cooperation between Barbados and St. Vincent and Trinidad. We need that level of cooperation.
What was the comment? Caribbean integration is exercised what?
In futility.
Exercising futility. No.
As in all talk and no action?
All talk and no action. Now, let me tell you something. The people of the Caribbean, like say you and Christal and me and Anita in Canada and other people, there's more unity among us than the politicians, because the politicians only thinking about who will have the power, and I don't want this thing to happen because that will happen. There's more unity among the actual people. I sure if I come to St. Vincent, Christal will invite me home. Eat our rose, barefoot and crepes.
You do something. You say something interesting there. I know we're going on a little longer, but some people say, well, them politicians does not glass with each other, and they have their supporters who are against each other. So there's a different view. But going back to some of what you said, you see, there are a number of states in the United States that allow people open carry of guns. They have no restriction on that. They don't even have a lot of laws in terms of waiting for people to purchase guns and so forth. They have
a lot of people use it and call it fire ground.
But as Christal was saying, you could put guns in a barrel, and if you put guns in, let's say 10 barrels, right, and pack some food stuff on top of them. Okay, let's say one of them is picked up or 2 of them is picked up, but 8 would get through. It's the laws of average, and you send it to Ezekiel Horn, but there's no Ezekiel Horn here, but somebody is going to be able to get that cleared as Ezekiel Horn. You understand? But if it is picked up, nobody will know who Ezekiel Horn is. You understand?
Right.
And I'm not to say your name is Ezekiel and so forth. You know what I mean? The point is that.
Now you understand what you're saying.
Yeah. It is so hard. Listen, I think.
But before I go, let me say this.
Yeah.
Before I go, let me say this. In Barbados, they just bought a $40 million scanner.
Yes.
That can scan
containers, metal.
Yeah. Any kind of metal, yeah. And I think the islands want more of them. And in closing, let me say this. I want to tell my friend, I hear the phone ringing all the time, but I cannot get an answer.
Okay.
But as soon as I get an answer, my grandson is here, I will make the necessary Cause.
All right.
Eh,
All right. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hall. Thank you, Mr. Hall. Your cryptic messages.
Have a great day.
Cryptic messages.
Take
All the
care.
best, yes.
May I keep out the things that don't concern me. Anyways,
Christal,
that's all
Rafik,
for today.
thank you very much. And pleasant good morning, everybody. Let's enjoy the week, a crime-free week. Ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant good morning to you.
Stop watch other people thing and mind your business. That's what you need to do. Go and work for your own money. Work for your own things. You understand? I said last week, the Bible has a lot of fundamental principles in it, we seem to be forgetting and not passing them down. Mind your business. Work for your own money by the sweat of my brow. How will the rest go? So shall I eat, something like that. Thou shalt not covet. Then they don't watch other people thing and vex. You don't know how they get it. Go and work hard. You know how satisfying that is? Work really hard for a little $1,000. You take that $1,000 and buy a new bike. Bike is yours. And your little helmet and you're riding on the road gleeful as ever. Come on, man. And older folks, we can't be so selfish and just studying ourselves. We got to pass down certain principles and information to the younger people so that they could learn what we learned when we were young and probably didn't listen to. Anyways, have a wonderful day. My name is Christal, officially signing out for today. It is 9:53. Coming up in 2 minutes, we've got WEFM's News in Brief. Sorry, weren't able to bring to you community deadline for today. But you know what? I want to share with you a thought for today. If it is important to you, you will find a way. If not, you will find an excuse. I like this one. I'm going to put this up on my WhatsApp status and Twitter. I'm going to tweet this one. If it's important to you, you will find a way. If not, you will find an excuse. Happy finding ways and excuses for today. Join me again tomorrow morning, same time, same place, right here on WEFM 99.9. And of course, don't forget to follow on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok at WEFM 99 SVG. Ciao.